Total Logic and the University of Life, Chapter 14, The Garden of One-Liners. I got up slow, gathered my items, and left the classroom. That was a sad story, I thought to myself. The story about Jack hit home for me. It almost made me cry. Had I been a bully in my life as well? To some extent, as Alfred had pointed out, we are all bullies at some level. I was unclear as to what level I might have been that way in my life. Any level seemed to be too much. I had to look closely at that one. I still shook at the close memory I held from the Valley of the Masters. I didn't want to end up living in that world. I continued walking back down the grand stairs of the diversity wing of the university. As I passed Albert's classroom, I glanced at all the mathematical equations on the blackboard where fresh chalk dust filled the air. Down below in the courtyard, the thick branch on the tree where the eagle had landed stood empty, gently swaying in the air. And I looked on, my head turned to the ground, just thinking. At the foot of the stairs stood Arthur the Frog, standing at attention and dressed in his finely pressed suit as usual, patiently awaiting my arrival. "Are you hungry, sir?" "A bit, Arthur," I said. "Well, we will be having dinner in a little while, but there is one thing I would like to fit in before we do. Is that all right with you, sir?" "Sure," I said. "We will be passing by the Garden of One-Liners on our way. This will be a very good opportunity to reflect on what you have experienced here so far. It is a beautiful garden that everyone here at the university cherishes. I think it is time that you had a visit. May we proceed, sir?" "Sure," I replied. "Isn't that where the bear was? You pointed him out as we walked over here, as I recall." "Yes, sir, you are quite right," Alfred said. "That would be Kent the bear. Kent is the caretaker and designated curator of the messages available inside the Garden of One-Liners. He is the one who arranges the signs that appear there. He typically adds a few of his own as well." As we turned the corner on the path, the gates appeared. I looked up briefly as I approached the magnificent front gate and caught the toe of my right foot on the cobblestones and fell forward. As I did, I was caught in the giant hug by a rather large furry creature. Looking up, I saw him. "Sir, meet Kent the bear." Kent was a tall bear and walked on his hind legs like all the other creatures found in this world. He had a big smile on his face and held me in his mighty grip just long enough to straighten out my posture so that I could stand on my own. Hello there," I said in a rather high voice. "Hello there," he said in a rather high voice. "Welcome to the Garden of One-Liners." Arthur then turned to me. "Sir, I will meet you on the other side. Kent will walk with you on your tour of the garden." Arthur then disappeared behind a high garden hedge, and I was standing alone with a tall black bear in the leafy wisdom of the Garden of the White One-Liners. This way, the bear enthusiastically spoke. So beautiful it was. Thick green vegetation covered the grounds. Flowering plants of all kinds flowed out in every direction, with tall oak and walnut trees reaching for the sky. I walked into the garden with the bear by my side. It is said that to understand these signs found here is to understand the totality of all the knowledge available here at the University of Life. Ken spoke as we walked in through the main gated entrance. The entry gate was tall and arched at the top, made of a gray wrought iron metal and ornamented with steel, ivory, and gold accents. And an ivy leaf design graced its crown with the words "Garden of One-Liners" written in Roman Gothic letters across the top. The bear was clearly excited and proud to be showing me the inside of the garden. He ran ahead just a few feet and quickly straightened a sign or two so that they would be just perfect at my arrival a few seconds later. "These are the signs," Ken enthusiastically gestured. "These are the signs that make up all the knowledge. These are the signs that we can follow. These are the signs that you can follow to know that you're on the right path." I looked at the bear, standing there with a big smile on his face. "Yes, Kent, I understand." The first sign I came to read clearly, and it said, "All people make sense all the time." I paused, reflected a bit. That made sense to me now. I would have been a much more difficult idea to handle just a few days ago, but I was understanding now that all people did make sense all the time. The next sign I came to read, "My idea plus $1 gets me a cup of coffee." That was Alfred's favorite saying. Funny turtle, Alfred is. Always points to his information out as his opinion, and always very comfortable with everyone knowing just that. The next sign I came to posted on the tree with a little 3M sticky note. Had a hard to imagine that it would stay there. In fact, there were sticky notes posted all over the place. They were on trees and sitting on rocks and up on tall limbs. "I did that," shouted the bear. "I did all the sticky notes. That was my idea." The bear done danced in a circle, plucking a note off of a tall tree branch and handing it to me. It read, "No one can make you do anything." "That's one of my favorites," he shouted with joy. Kent just walked beside me, talking to himself out loud. He couldn't resist the temptation to go on about all the signs and how he meticulously placed each and every one of them in just the right place as to have the best effect on all those who entered here. The next sign I came to was a large wooden one that was hooked on the side of an iron grate covered in dark green vines. It read, "All people are chronically disobedient. Learn to live with it." "I didn't put that one there," the bear interjected. "That one was already there." Moving on, the signs were lined up on wooden posts sticking up on each side of a brick-lined cobblestone path. The first one read, "No one can make anyone feel anything." Then another one read, "All feelings are valid." Then another read, "All people are doing their best at any given moment." On the other side of the path there were a few more. If two people are agreeing, one of them is lying, followed by another one that said, "Agreement is always a delusion at some level." Many signs started to show up, actually, show themselves from what was more on the sticky notes on trees and as magic markers writing right there on the rocks themselves. The more I looked, the more signs there seemed to be. Here's a whole bunch of them that read, "There are no bullies when you are alone, but when two people are arguing, there are two bullies." "Love is like math. It takes practice." Another one said, "Falling in love is an invitation to the brilliance of being alive." All people require adequate, reliable, and not excessive communication and connection with other humans. Another one read, "Hermits are not born. Hermits are people who need friends, but whose history of friends is awful." Another one read, "Feel that and feel that are not feelings. They are usually thoughts. A person knows nothing, but a person does believe, think, imagine, make up, recall, remember, and guess a lot." As I walked, I came across one that was all lit up bright with neon. It read, "Safety first, connection second, thoughts and ideas third." Another one read, "Shake it off, stomp it down, and rise to the next level." The signs were everywhere at this point. They continued to pop up into view as we proceeded through the garden. The next one read, "All humans are geniuses at something." That's a cool one. The next one read, "All humans are equal before God." And they went on and on. "If you fall in love, you share the same level of IQ. If you fall in love, you share the same level of dysfunctional, equally nuts. If you fall in love, you share the same level of desire for being fully alive together. You'll never get love by chasing a lizard. Give your partner space so they won't need it." I then turned a corner. It led into a small courtyard where there was a table and chair in the center as the wide cobblestone walkway circled around to the other side. There were signs on the trees as I looked around, a tall golden oak tree overhead to produce a canopy sheltering us from the sky above. The signs were too numerous to count, but I read every one of them out loud as the bear stood by and listened with a smile. All humans are valid before they open their mouths. Listening to a human speak is like looking into their validity. Pushing and pursuing is a form of invalidation. Divorce that old relationship. Don't divorce your partner. Fighting in a marriage or relationship is really hurting them till they love you. It never works. Another one read, interruptions are a kind of slap to the soul. It isn't what you intend that counts. It is all about how you come across. Would you rather hear your partner's thoughts or have them keep them secret from you? Take your pick. Learn to take delight in other people's differences. Choose door number 1 or door number 2 or door number 3. Vintage love, giving up, or divorce. So, how did you get this job? I asked Kent as we sat amongst the many messages beaming down at us from everywhere. Well, Kent replied, I am a student here at the University of Life, kind of like you. The main difference is that you are a human and I am a bear. I live here in this world like many of the other animals you have already met. We are the residents of this world. I happen to be a bear. I think you have met the fox and seen the eagle. We are all here to assist you in your effort to move through the university and back to your real world on the other side of the 3 doors. The bear looked down a little bit in retrospect. I could tell he was thinking about more than just the garden at that point. I meet lots of humans here in this garden. I show them these signs. I show these signs off to all of you because it is my wish to help you see. I wish you could all realize the wonderful creatures you are and just get on with the task of living your biological dream. I love these signs because they have helped guide my way and they will guide yours as well. I am not the teacher. I am a student just like you. But by keeping these signs safe and by keeping this garden green, I can do for you what the turtle has done for me. I looked at the big furry bear sitting there in that small chair and wondered, how did a bear ever get so smart? There was something about this bear, something almost human. Time to go, he spoke up, jumping up to his feet and leaning in towards the remainder of the yet-to-be-seen garden. And I walked on with Kent the bear by my side, reading all the signs one by one as we went. There's only one reason for lying. It's not safe to tell the truth. There's only one reason for silence. It's not safe to talk. Resentment is a memory of past invalidation. Heal it with validation. Competitors are killers. They are trying to make their partner into a loser. History is a safety net based on the ideas that on some day someone really knew what was going on. And history is used to keep us from falling into the mystery of life. A relationship is a participative mystique. We are all involved, but no one knows what is really going on. Anger serves to raise your energy and push you through a block. Grief is there to help you adjust your body to loss. Another one read, you'll either have a nice day today or learn a lesson. When in pain, increase your learning speed to maximize it. It shortens the pain. It takes 1 to make a marriage, 2 to make a divorce. We turned the corner once again and proceeded past even more signs. Here they were. All boundaries skills are defensive, never offensive. All conversation can proceed at only at the maximum rate of the slower person present. You can either be right or in a relationship. Take your pick. Walking into a desert does not make one want to dance. Up until the age of 8, you are entitled to everything. After that, you are lucky to get oxygen. Adults are not entitled to anything. Learn to earn what you want. An idea might be a good one, even if your father came up with it. Patience is a trial of adults. Impatience makes you appear childish. Oh, I think I made a mistake. That is probably at least the 23rd mistake in this hour. And finally, another sign read, I don't know how to say this right. Let me say it wrong, and then let's clean it up afterwards. Some of the signs are rather long, like this one written on a piece of white paper and held to the tree with a thumbtack. Definition of a lie: to knowingly leave someone in a state of misunderstanding about something you believe is important to them. This covers active lying, stating a falsehood, and passive lying, which is the omitting of critical information. That was the sign. And then we walked on. Here are some more signs. Avoiders, isolators see contact as conflict. For peace of mind, I suggest you resign as general manager of the universe. Yay. A terrific red light, a traffic red light is a chance to practice patience. In relationships, there are no victims, only volunteers. You're either in fear or in self-responsibility. Don't ignore the past. It is a place where we keep who we were and who we've grown up from. Here are some more signs. Guilt is time travel. It is putting today's wisdom into yesterday's event, a time at which you only had yesterday's wisdom. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. One side of the coin is guilt. The other side of the coin is improvement. Anyone can have a birthday. Instead, how about having a party when you improve? Being single is just a short time between relationships. When you hug your lover, occasionally look over their shoulder at the price tag. When you hear of someone doing something awful, isn't it about time we looked into their factories? Getting the benefits of divorce while you are living together. Love and threat can never coexist. Never. Stop trying to earn love while using or encouraging threat. The only one who will keep you away from your last imago match is the next one. Take 2 timeouts and call me in the morning. As the bear and I got to the end of the garden, the thick canopy overhead opened and the light of the day began to shine through. I moved out from under the tall trees and deep bushes, and there, firmly attached to the top of the overhanging gate that led us out of the garden, was the final sign. It read, "There is a short way that becomes the long way, and a long way that becomes the short way." I paused for a brief moment and looked over at the bear with a smile. "Thank you for this tour of the garden," I said. "It's your garden too," the bear then reached out and gave me a big hug, drew a long puff off his big, thick brown cigar, and walked back into the garden. "I have some sticky notes to catch up on too," was the last thing I heard the bear mumble as he walked away. I turned to see Arthur patiently waiting for me by the tall gate at the end of the garden. "Amazing place in there," I said. "Yes, sir, it is." And Arthur gestured this way. I arrived back at the main dining hall with Arthur, and we sat and ate a very good meal of shepherd's pie. Now, I never knew what shepherd's pie was, but it was really good. I sat and ate 2 plates full of it. It had lamb in it with a bunch of onions and carrots and tomato paste, Worcestershire sauce, and, as Arthur pointed out, russet potatoes. This is what Arthur told me anyway. Since he was an old English hand, I believed him. It was very good indeed. In any case, I retired after that. Arthur showed me up to the top of the stairs where my room was, just down the hall. It had been a long day. I love the Garden of One-Liners. That kind of pulled a lot of the information together for me. I bedded down with a good night's rest, fell back into the large pillows on the oversized canopy bed, and drifted off. The sun had set over the distant hills a while before, and I was ready for sleep. Tomorrow was to be another day. I knew that for sure.